Well, we promised you a special edition of Orange and Blue today. It's Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason with the plan. What's the plan for the Broncos? I guess everybody stay healthy, Mace. You talked about it yesterday. Like, so many players aren't going to play.
Yeah, Courtland Sutton's not going to play. Baron Browning's not going to play. Neither of them have advanced in the concussion protocol to a point where they're going to be available. The die was pretty well cast yesterday when we saw that they weren't on the field for practice, the last practice of the week. Marvin Mims Jr., questionable, but he hurt his hamstring in practice on Thursday and did not practice Friday. That trend line doesn't sound too good, right? And Jerry Jeudy dealing with an illness, he didn't practice on Friday. There's an illness going around. Justin Simmons was ill on Thursday. He didn't practice. He was back on Friday. But yeah, at this moment right now, I mean, if Jerry Jeudy and Marvin Mims don't recover, you're looking at a receiving core that's going to have a lot of practice squad guys out there on Sunday. Some experienced dudes like Philip Dorsett, Traquan Smith, but
Right.
it, the depth is going to be tested at wide receiver potentially in a big, big way.
Yeah, for sure. And Jarrett Stidham's first start with the Denver Broncos, not exactly what you wanted. We were thinking about big things for Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, yeah, and if he's well, certainly there could be. But okay, maybe I'm putting the tinfoil hat on, and I shouldn't do that. But all right,
Maybe you should.
all right. Let's think about this here. If you're Sean Payton and you're trying to prove a point about this offense,
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
yes, and if you went out there with Jarrett Stidham throwing to
Bill
Brandon
Jordan.
Johnson, Lil Jordan Humphrey, David Sills, Philip Dorsett,
Where's Michael Bandy?
and, yeah, maybe you bring up Michael Bandy and you score 30 points. I mean, if that happened, even though this is a Chargers team that's a mess right now, we're going to get into that as well. They've got obviously huge injury issues of their own. But if you did that, if you went out there and scored 30, you didn't have Jeudy, you didn't have Sutton, you didn't have Mims, and of course you don't have Russell Wilson, then you're Sean Payton. It might be like QED, baby, quad ed demonstratum. This is what I'm talking about, right? I mean, I'm not a conspiracy person, but man alive, if the Broncos are down this much at wide receiver and have a big day on Sunday offensively, this is what we're going to be talking about on Monday, Cease.
Right. Right. And I will say this, I'm a critical thinker. You are as well. That doesn't mean conspiracy, but like there's a large opportunity. This offense looks really good. I don't even care if it's little Jordan Humphrey out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's an opportunity for Stidham to light it up.
Yeah. What if he connects with Lucas Kroll, short to intermediate routes? What if unlock Kroll? We know the coaches think highly of him.
Right. Right.
I mean, but Jerry Judy's the biggest possibility. But look, you said Brandon Johnson a couple of days ago, right? Who say Brandon Johnson doesn't go off in this game?
Exactly.
I mean, a precise route runner. This is the type of receiver who may well benefit from Jarrett Stidham throwing the passes out there. I mean, we are in some strange times right now, Cease.
Yeah, it's times. Very strange times. Was that Latin that you just quoted?
Yeah, QED. Mm-hmm.
QED. Can I respond with some Greek myself?
Yeah, or you could respond in Pig Latin.
Here's what we do. Labore et constantia.
Mm-hmm.
Constant work.
Yes.
We're here for you, man. And that's the thing. Like, I think the plan is helping Jarrett Stidham look good just for Jarrett Stidham's sake. I'm not necessarily saying for any conspiracy take, but like help Jarrett Stidham look good. And honestly, Mace, I don't think that much comes from the ground game. I could be totally wrong and somebody could have 100 yards. But I think this is short passes. It's a quick game. You mentioned how Stidham doesn't feel the rush at times. So don't even have him feel the rush. Have him get rid of it, timing, rhythm based, and make Stidham look good because it's your offensive true design.
Yeah, it's the true design. And if it's working as designed, then that weak spot of Jarrett Stidham's isn't going to matter all that much, right?
Right.
If
Right.
you're getting the ball out on time, if you're keeping on a schedule, if it's look, the genius of Drew Brees when he ran this offense is it was 1-2 out, right? He processed quickly. And I'll say this for Jarrett Stidham, one of the things that Sean Payton said impressed him about Jarrett Stidham was his processor. Now, I'll say this, what we saw sometimes in training camp in the preseason, I don't know that it was quite there, but that is something that Sean Payton likes about him, as he
Right.
says, is the processor. So, like Gary Kubiak would say, we're fixing to find out.
Mace, I was thinking about that and I wanted to respond to you and get your opinion because this is a full season of Jarrett Stidham basically learning this, right? So in training camp, you and I both said, like, this is trouble if Jarrett Stidham gets in. But that's when he's in his infancy of learning this. He's had a full season of preparation for this moment.
He's had a full season of preparation, and he's going probably against the best type of defense that you'd want to face. Uh, a Chargers defense that got destroyed by the Raiders a couple of weeks back. Um, a unit that just does not seem to know what it's doing a great deal of the time. And on top of that, a unit that's banged up. Kenneth Murray had an injury this week. Joey Bosa's not going to play in this game. We got some Chargers offensive injuries to talk about as well. But on the back end, sometimes you watch the film. I'm not sure what they're doing back there in coverage.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a mess.
I don't think they know what they're doing in coverage.
Yeah.
So it's opportunity time for Jarrett Stidham. Another way to help him, Mason, I guess we can transition to the Chargers offense and the Broncos defense, because another way to help Stidham is to play really good defense and get him the ball back.
Exactly. And I would say this in terms of getting the ball back. You're going to see a Chargers offense that doesn't look like the one that we saw when the Broncos went out there on December 10th. When you make a coaching change in season, sometimes things are thrown away. And what we saw from the Chargers against the Bills last week was a more aggressive game plan than we've seen from them offensively, I'd say all year. More aggressive, more creative. It was almost as if you look at this, it seems like Brandon Staley was putting the parking brake on. And once he was gone, they took it off. Let Kellen Moore do his thing. So even though Justin Herbert's out for the year, you have Easton Stick at quarterback making his second career start last week against Buffalo. It was a more aggressive game plan than we've seen, and it really caught Buffalo off guard. And it's something that Vance Joseph did talk about. So we got that beautiful bean footage of VJ.
Here's VJ on Easton Stick.
Well, I see a guy who's very athletic. He's running around and making plays, and they're playing aggressive. The offense is a lot more aggressive than it was the first time we played him overall. It won't be easy. He's a guy who's been in this league, for a couple of years, so it won't be a rookie quarterback. He's got talent, so caging this guy the right way and covering the receivers obviously is key.
That other clip as well, the other VJ clip, that's where he kind of gets into the rationale behind their aggressiveness.
Okay, let's have VJ on the LA Chargers.
Why? They should be. Obviously, the coaches moved on. They got a new coach, and guys are playing for jobs and playing for contracts. Why not? And that makes it hard on defenses. So why go out there and run? When you can throw. And that's challenging. It's NFL. Everyone has players, and this quarterback's aggressive and he's smart. So we'll see how it goes Sunday. But it's scary to watch a little bit.
Scary to watch a little bit. I mean, that's
Who would have thought that, right? Vance Joseph telling the truth, though.
He is. Now, that being said, you can use their aggressiveness against them, and I think that's what Vance Joseph is going to try to do on Sunday. If you're too aggressive with a relatively limited quarterback as Easton Stick is, then there are ways to make them pay, even without Baron Browning. Now, you're going to get Nick Bonito back. I'd say probably at best that's a push if you put Bonito in there in place of Browning. You're losing something against the run. Maybe you get a little bit more dynamic nature against the pass, but that could play into their hands because, like Vance Joseph was saying, they're going to pass. They're not going to run.
Mm-hmm.
They're pitching it around. Frankly, they're looking like a team that's trying to have some fun out there. And it looked against the Bills, even though they fell short at the end, could have easily won the game. That looked like a team that was having fun and loose for the first time in a long time. But that being said, how often have we seen the dead cat bounce from a team that fires its coach? Right?
Right.
So we'll see just to what degree that is the case. A dead cat bounce means they come out there on Sunday, they're flat, the Broncos should cruise to a win. If it's something more legitimate, sort of like we're seeing with the Raiders with Antonio Pierce replacing Josh McDaniels, this game could go a lot differently than people expect.
Well, and one way for them to counter the Broncos' aggression on defense with their own way, it's kung fu, football kung fu. It's like screen passes and draw plays. Screen passes specifically, since VJ's talking about pass, but like Austin Eckler's not himself, but he's still dangerous, and without Keenan Allen, without Joshua Palmer, I think some tight end stuff with Gerald Everett would work. I think Austin Eckler's receiver would work. Like, there's still some concerns here.
Yeah, there are. Now, that being said, I mean, you just took out their top two wide receivers, and of course, Mike Williams has been out for a long time, so really the top three. A dude who was making plays late in the game on December 10th at SoFi Stadium was Quentin Johnston, who's had he's had a disappointing rookie season. He's got the chance to seriously change that narrative here in the next couple of games. And we saw when Easton Stick was hitting him deep, Fabian Moreau caught off guard a little bit. If you're the Chargers, I think you try to set up that matchup again. That appeared to work. And Moreau played really well for a while, hasn't been quite as effective in coverage over the last few weeks. That's another avenue where I think the Chargers are going to try to make some plays and expose the Broncos a little bit. I think they're going to try to get that Johnston on Moreau matchup a few times because it worked so well late to get the Chargers for a brief moment back into the game there at SoFi.
Yeah, and if the Chargers are putting up points, Mace, I still don't know if this team is built for comeback football. They were not with Russell Wilson. We had talked about it many times. Maybe that's different with Jarrett Stidham. But if the plan is to help Jarrett Stidham as much as possible, the plan should include don't get into a shootout with the Chargers. The potential is there, honestly, for this to be like a shocking type of 28, 27, 35, 30 type of game.
Yeah, there is. Two teams saying screw it. YOLO. Right? Look, this game could actually be a lot of fun if you play YOLO ball. And I think Jarrett Stidham's going to want to play YOLO ball. And again, sort of the psychology of Sean Payton on this. Do you think he wants to prove a point here in this game?
Oh,
you think he's going to want to prove that this move is the right one?
Oh, yeah, because what happens if he doesn't? You know what I mean? And doing our Russell Wilson show on Friday, Mace, the one constant that I kept thinking, besides Sean Payton kind of throwing George Payton under the bus at his press conference, but one thing I was thinking was, well, Grand Moff Tarkin, this had better work. If you go out with Stidham and you lay an egg and the Chargers beat you and fans are leaving and, there's going to be 20,000 no-shows anyway, like, this is not a good look unless you come out and kick ass double live Gonzo on the wild side.
Mm-hmm. Forget about the fans. How do you think Greg Penner's going to feel?
There might be doubt creeping in with Greg Penner if you don't perform this week. I don't think there's any right now, but I think Greg Penner, in trusting Sean Payton, he will be watching this closely. Greg Penner is not just ignoring everything. He's handing stuff over to Sean Payton. He's trusting Sean Payton. I like that about Greg Penner, but he's not just going to sit on his hands. And this is the type of game where futures could be put in doubt, even if that future is like even a year from now.
Yeah, I mean, from a PR perspective on Friday, the Broncos took some shots. And they absorbed some hits. It was like from a PR perspective, it was like being on the wrong end of 70-20 on Friday, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure.
It wasn't good. It wasn't a good day for the image of the Denver Broncos. But the thing is, there's a way to get past that. The way to get past that is a kick-ass performance on Sunday and a dynamic offense that shows the concepts that we're so familiar with, not just when Sean Payton had Drew Brees, but the concepts that we saw when Jameis Winston got the Saints off to a really good start in 2021 and had them looking like a team that could legitimately challenge the then defending champion Buccaneers. Shoot, Jameis Winston's last start, they beat the Bucs. He got hurt that day, but they beat the Bucs in the Superdome, right? So, it's just this is a surprisingly big moment for the Broncos. It really is, this game.
Yeah, don't ignore it. Don't think this is some throwaway.
Even though they may be basically done by Sunday in terms of the playoff conversation, this is a game that's going to have some weight internally. And it's even going to have some weight to the players as well who aren't connected with everything going on with Jarrett Stidham, Russell Wilson, etc. Getting to 9-8 starts with getting that 8th win. Getting to 9-8 does mean something in that building. And like Jonathan Cooper, for example, very emotional after the loss last Sunday. And he's somebody who's probably going to be on an emotional crest when this coming game against the Chargers rolls around. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
I'm not really over it. I'm not really over it, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not going to be over it until I play some more football, until I put on the pads again on Sunday. Obviously, that loss still sucks. You have to find a way to move forward and get better. And that's what I'm doing, but that doesn't mean that chip isn't there. So,
on the shoulder, right? Does that sound like a player for a team that is playing out the string? Doesn't really care about this?
No.
That's the sense. That was actually a sense I got on Friday as well in the locker room, that this result's very important to a lot of players, and all for a lot of reasons. I think it's personal pride, but also I think professionally as well, Cease. If you're moving on from Russell Wilson and you have that anvil of a dead money figure hanging around your cap, there are going to be some moves made, some uncomfortable moves made, and you don't want to put bad film out there here down the stretch, even if you're not going to be a playoff team. Dude's got something to play for in this game and the game in Las Vegas a week later.
Yes, and it's for players that are going to be here, like Jonathan Cooper, one of the young leaders on this team, and for players that won't be here for various reasons. Like, this is it's pretty big. It's not a throwaway game. This time of year, we do get some of those in the NFL, but not for this team. This week was too large in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's probably more a throwaway game for the Chargers, but at the same time, I think they played that game against Buffalo as though the weight of the world was off their shoulders. They were footloose, fancy-free. They were having fun. If they've continued to make it fun this week, I think this could be interesting. At minimum, if you're the Chargers, you know, you're learning more about your backup situation. Look, we've seen backup quarterback situations look terrible. What we've seen from Easton Stick, the results have been mixed, but if it looks more like it did against Buffalo than it did against the Raiders, Easton Stick becomes kind of what Chase Daniel was, right? Somebody that if you have to go to for a little while, you can trust. That's a dude that's got a lot on the line as well. He's waited what? He waited 4 seasons for this opportunity?
I believe so, yeah, 3 or 4 seasons. He's been there a minute.
He looked pretty good. Didn't
he follow up Carson Wentz? Am I misremembering that? He followed up Carson Wentz, and then Trey Lance followed up him.
Yeah, North Dakota State had it going on at the quarterback position for a while there.
Yeah, so it's been a minute.
He's kind of like Jarrett Stidham. Stidham waited what? He waited 4 years for his chance to start when he finally got out there last year for the Raiders. Easton Stick waited the same amount of time. And look, when Kellen Moore took the reins off, and this is, again, the Chargers functioning against the Bills with the safeties off, basically, offers an indication that maybe Brandon Staley was the parking brake holding that thing back offensively, right? I was saying today or yesterday, we're putting this in the can on Friday, we admit. I was saying at Broncos practice on Friday that Joe Lombardi, who was the offensive coordinator in LA, now is the offensive coordinator under Sean Payton in Denver. Joe Lombardi's probably feeling a little bit vindicated when Kellen Moore finally turns it loose after Brandon Staley gets fired.
Because Lombardi got blamed for that last year. Why is he
Yes.
throwing short stuff with Herbert? Why is he being so safe with Herbert? Herbert's a downfield passer.
Mm-hmm.
Lombardi got the blame. Maybe it was Staley telling you, like, be safe, let my defense run it.
Weird, because Staley was so aggressive in terms of game management decisions, and yet we're starting to see pieces falling into place that show that when it came to how he wanted his offense run, curiously conservative with a quarterback as talented as Herbert, because that offense last Saturday against Buffalo, that was dynamic, it was imaginative, and they were doing it with Easton Stick. It's like, where was this with Herbert for most of the year? We didn't see this except with occasional bursts against bad defenses like Detroit. I mean, by the last few games, when they played New England, what the heck were they doing in that game? What were they doing against Denver, right? They didn't it wasn't starting to cut loose until they were behind by 17 points. And yet they came out against Buffalo and they were swinging it, man. It was fun. Like that game, that in terms of expectation versus what it became, I expected a dud, blowout, boring game on Saturday night. What I got was one of the most entertaining games to watch of the year, right?
Right.
The Chargers looked, and if you're a Chargers fan, yes, there are some. I know some, by the way. Everyone wants to make the jokes they have no fans. I know some Chargers fans. And you have to watch that and think, what might have been, right? Because that was how it was supposed to look against a really good Buffalo Bills team playing its best ball, going toe-to-toe, being aggressive on both sides of the ball, and giving yourself a chance with that aggression. And they had enough talent this year to be aggressive. Even with all the injuries, they had enough talent to be aggressive and ambush the Bills.
Yeah.
If you're a Chargers fan, you think, man, we just wasted this year. And if you're Dean Spanos, you look at that and think, yeah, I should have fired Staley after bowling the game in Jacksonville last January in the playoffs.
Yep.
You wasted a year. It could have looked like the way it looked against Buffalo, could have looked like that with an elite quarterback all year long.
Yes, and your best moment is to win on a rookie contract. That's already gone.
They've blown that.
Just wasting more time.
We're gonna have a lot of talk about rookie contracts here in the next few months, Cease, because unfortunately, with the Russell Wilson contract and the dead money involved with it, if the Broncos do put themselves in position to get a Jaden Daniels, unfortunately, they're going to burn off 2 years of cost control, paying down what's left of that Russell Wilson contract. Them's the breaks. You're gonna have to lie in this bed. But
yep.
It's unfortunate, right? Cost control window when the quarterback is young. If you found an effective guy, is a beautiful thing. The Chiefs won a Super Bowl in that window.
Right.
The Seahawks with Russell Wilson a decade ago won a Super Bowl in that window.
Right.
Baltimore, Joe Flacco's last year before he got his big contract, 2012, they won a Super Bowl in that window.
The 49ers can do it with Purdy this year. That's the window.
Rams almost did it with Jalen Hurts last year. Or the Eagles, pardon me. Eagles, my bad. Bad. Eagles almost did it with Jalen Hurts last year. They've got a chance this year. If it's Eagles or 49ers, two teams still with a quarterback on a cost control window, that number starts going up for Jalen Hurts next year. The bill came due. Eventually, Cease, I want to ask you this. You think there will be a team that decides we're always recycling the quarterback position every 4 or 5 years and always going young and always going cost control?
Unless he's like amazing generational talent. Yeah, I could see that. Because you have guys that are on that fringe like 8, 9, 10, 12 somewhere that aren't quite your Mahomes or your Allens. And you could say, well, let's just go get another one.
Could you see Kyle Shanahan doing that?
1,000%. Sam Darnold is the best pure passer he's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
If Sam said there is a backup waiting that could win him a Super Bowl, and his name's Sam
Yes.
Darnold. I know people may not believe that, but it's a Jeff Hostetler situation.
Oh, yes. Don't think that when, Purdy looked bad on Monday night and got banged up that a lot of people weren't thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
That Darnold might have to come in. And respectfully to Brock Purdy, if Sam Darnold had to come in and start, I don't think anything changes about their potential to win the whole frickin' thing.
Nope.
Not at all.
There you go. Believe in the
That's
system.
Yep. It's a good place to leave this off because Sean Payton believes in his system.
Right.
And we're fixing to find out whether Jarrett Stidham in the system can make it work.
Sounds like an 80s song.
Man, we are going to have a heck of a discussion on Monday, I think. I know it's New Year's Day, but I think we're doing a show on Monday. Yeah, there's going to be too much to break down about this.
We're doing a show on Saturday. We're doing a show on Monday. We are here for you. Do you want to do?
I'd hop on post game with you if I could. If
I'll send you the link if you want, baby. Yeah.
I know
you're doing your own post game from the field.
Yeah, so. But you keep going, man. I mean,
I brain dump.
Yes,
I dump something.
you get it off your chest. I think that's
therapy.
That's what I felt in the wee small hours as Christmas Eve came to an end. You were getting stuff off your chest. That was. But I'll ask you this: did you think they would bench Russell Wilson this week?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't either.
Here we are.
I thought they were gonna just play it out. But I'm sorry though. It's ridiculous to have him be the number 2 if you've decided to move on from him. If you've already broached the whole point of the of waiving the injury guarantee, threatening to bench him, how can you activate him? How can he be in uniform? Because, like we said, could be Aaron Rodgers. You said that yesterday. Could be Aaron Rodgers. Right?
Memo to Greg Penner. Make the call. Sean Payton runs the show. He said it at his presser on Friday. Well, I'm the one that makes those decisions, and he's the number 2. Until Greg Penner tells you no. Greg Penner, tell him no.
It's his show. It is Greg Penner's team. And ultimately, everybody serves at the pleasure of Greg Penner.
That's very true.
That's the way these things roll.
He is Andrew Mason. Follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. My brain froze for a second.
It's okay.
Help us grow our YouTube channel. The response has been amazing. We're getting in front of more Denver fans. We thank you guys for helping us out on YouTube. So like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. And check us out, man. We appreciate you. He's Mace. I'm Cecil. OBT's BFD. Have a happy new year. And let's flip and go Broncos. Stay frosty, everybody.